Hi everyone, it's James Art here. Hope you're doing really well. So I've got a quick tip for you. Do you find that sometimes your bass guitar needs a little bit of extra help just to lock in with the kick drum? I'm going to show you what I do in Logic Pro X with the use of groove maps to make that happen. Stick around. If you find this video helpful, then please do hit the like button just so I know that you liked it. And also, if you want to stay in touch with upcoming videos, then hit the subscribe and a notification bell and I'll let you know of upcoming videos. Also, if you want some free stuff, sign up to the mailing list. I'll send you an EQ cheat sheet as well as some drum shots that you can use in your mixes. Let's dive right in. Okay, so I've got a bass guitar part which has been pretty well recorded. The performance was pretty good, but it just needs a little bit of extra work. Let's have a quick listen just so you have an idea of what we're working with. This is just the drums and bass for now. It's actually pretty tight, but I think we can get it just a little bit better. So what we're basically going to do is we're going to use what the kick drum is doing as a guide, essentially, to try and lock the bass in to that. And the way to do that, in this case, is to use groove maps. So I'll show you what we're going to do. Since the bass drum generally locks in with the kick drum, we're going to use the kick drum only as a reference for the groove maps. So before you start, you need to make sure that you've got it enabled in your track header. So if you just right click anywhere on the tracks, track header components, and just make sure that you've got groove track ticked. That means that it'll appear. And because we're just working on a kick drum, chances are if you've got multi-track drums, they're going to be grouped. So just for a moment, you need to turn that off. If you just hit Shift G, that'll do it. Make sure you turn it back on afterwards because you don't want to start editing drums and it's off. You're going to be in a world of pain. Right, so now we need to choose which track is going to be the groove map reference. So if we go hover over here, as you can see, you get a little star that appears. So if we click that, now that means that this track is the groove track reference. Next up, go over to your bass guitar and make sure that you enable flex audio. So just hit that on. You can leave it on polyphonic if you like, but technically the best one is going to be monophonic, but this one is working okay for now, so I'm just going to leave it that way. Now if we we'll just have a quick listen to them just together. That's pretty tight, but if we check this box here, as you can see, it comes up match groove track. So that basically means when I enable that, it's now going to set markers which are based on the performance in the groove track. So as you can see, it's set a whole bunch of transient markers just as the kick drum is hitting, and then it's therefore going to try and lock in with the kick drum. Let's have a quick listen to that now. Nice. We'll just turn it off so you can get a bit of an idea. And as I turned it off, you noticed how it just moved it a little bit. I'm going to put it on and off. You see what it's doing? It's just giving it just a little bit of a nudge. So this is with it off. And we'll go back on. As you can hear, with it off, the bass guitar is just a little bit ahead of the beat, where when it's back on, it just locks it in a little bit better. So we're going to go one more time. And now with it locked in. And that is essentially it. However, one thing you want to pay attention to when you're doing this is you can't just set it and forget. That might be the case with some parts. For example, here, this is a chorus. It is quite simple and it is very much following what the kick drum is doing. But sometimes it's not following what it's doing completely, or there are sort of counter rhythms that are going on that don't quite fit as solidly with the bass. So at that point, that's when you might need to do a little bit more editing. But what this is really good at doing is it gets things locked in to start off with and essentially does half of the work for you, and then afterwards you can just go through and then just see what else you need to change. For example, there's a part here where there's a little bit of a bass slide and the kick drums go a little bit crazy there with a few double kicks. It is metal after all. Let's have a listen. Doesn't sound too bad, but really we don't want that following that exactly. What it really needed was just one transient marker at the beginning there, just to lock it into that kick drum, but no more. You might also find that as you go along, it's following that kick drum and therefore cutting off some notes. So for example, this part here, it's actually just 2 notes, but then it's got a transient marker right at the end to follow on with this third kick. That actually sounds fine, but chances are you might want to take that last marker off. It just sounds that little bit cleaner. So that's generally what you might need to do throughout the track. Just edit a few things here and there. But the main thing is that it will help to just tighten things up overall, and then you can just tweak it a little bit afterwards. Okay, there we go. So that is one way to use groove maps with Logic Pro X. There are so many different things you can actually do with it. So it's definitely not confined to just this application. I'll maybe do another video in the future just looking at some other ways that you can use it. But if there's anything that you actually use it for at the moment, maybe leave a comment in the bottom and we can talk about that and start to share the knowledge with everyone else. Okay, thanks very much for watching. I'll see you next time.